Well, this is going to be my movie review for Logan. Um, Boy, I don't know really. We're not going to do spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But I kind of want to give you some history. I want to give you some context. I want to talk about some things here that I think are important. I think I would start off by saying if you are a Wolverine fan, and I am, that was kind of my jam back in the day when I was a kid. Wolverine was my superhero before he was popular, right? Like we're talking in the '80s, dude. I was like, whoa. Um, if you like him from the comics, this is what you're going to get in the movie. It is very good representation of the Wolverine, the savage, the loner and whatnot. So you're going to get a very good story. The film is very, very good. I would say it's probably more a wolf and cub story meets western. Very much has a western feel to it. There's a scene where they reference the movie Shane, and I think it's a modern adaptation of the movie Shane. Really, I think, um, but a lot of elements of western in it. Acting was great. X-23 is a beautiful little murder girl. Um, but I think before we kind of go into more of this, you need to understand where did Old Man Logan come from, because this is not part of the universe. So if you're thinking like you see this film and how does this fit into the construct of Marvel films and then kind of the X-Men stuff that goes on, that's really, and keep this in mind with the X-Men films, it's continuity schmontinuity. There is no continuity. These films are almost kind of standalone, loosely tied into as we jump around these different realities. Old Man Logan was a series that was kind of a one-off of the X-Men, and it was a dystopian future where the superheroes lose and the crime lords kind of win, and you have America was split up into zones, and it was like mafia. So there was like the Hulk mafia, and yes, the Hulk mafia. Hulk goes crazy. He mates with She-Hulk, and they have hillbilly inbred Hulk children who like to rape and pillage. Not good if you're a citizen, right? He kind of has California, and as you kind of go across the country, you get to Washington D.C., which is run by Red Skull, and Kingpin's in there, and Doctor Doom, and all this stuff, and Logan is living in the California area. I'm guessing he's out in that area underneath the Hulk's area, and he has been losing his regeneration abilities. And in the comic book story, it's because of his claws going in and out with the blood from different people that he kind of got a virus. He kind of got like some kind of AIDS-like virus that's attacking his immune system, and he cannot regenerate the way he used to. And when he realizes this, he kind of stays low. He gets very low key, because if his enemies knew that he couldn't regenerate, he's dead meat, right? I mean, he really is. You just shoot him in the head and he's done. So he's kind of becoming a farmer, migrant worker out in California, and he's away from the farm, and the Hulk kids come through and they rape and pillage and kill his wife and whatnot. And Wolverine comes in and sees this, and he goes berserker. He goes in that berserker mode, and he starts killing the Hulk children. Right? There's a panel in the comic book where the Hulk eats him, and he's like, "Wabah!" It's just crazy. And he meets up with Hawkeye, who's blind but still can drive, kind of, and they do this road trip because supposedly Captain America supposedly wants to meet with him for one last resistance, and Logan is in on this. So this is this journey across country to get to Captain America, this promised land, and it's only met with betrayal. And I won't spoil the Old Man Logan for you, but it's a really good series, and I would encourage you to watch it. Very violent and whatnot. So we have elements in there of what has transpired in the movie. We have kind of a dystopian America. We have heroes have been taken down. They've been very much like the comic book story. There's not a lot of them left. Evil is reigning, but it's not quite like that. We have a road trip. We have this idea of getting to Eden, getting to the paradise to try to one last time. There's betrayal. There's a lot of good elements from the comic book that translate over into the film, and however, it's not an exact representation. It's like they took this mode of the comic book story and said, let's change some things around and use it just as a generic base and build off of it. So that's what they did. We saw Charles Xavier in this. I thought Patrick Stewart's portrayal of a aging, decrepit, dementia Professor X was amazing. He did a great job. I thought X-23 captured this idea perfectly of this little girl who is basically like 10 ninjas, right? She's like 10 ninjas, and she just goes to town when she's unleashed. Very protective, very nurturing. You know, she's like a mother lion, a lioness, and a great character. The beginning of the film starts with the trailer, which I was surprised to see. And I think this film sets up for a sequel, kind of, maybe, or a spin-off. Because what we're left with is, in my estimation, a look at the New Mutants coming. And if you watch this film and you see the trailer that precedes it, pay very, very careful attention. Because there's a scene that you'll see, and there's a phone booth. And on the phone booth, there's a name of who's coming soon. And if you know comic book lore, you can kind of figure out who is that, what is happening, what's going to happen to this timeline, and at the end of the film, who are these people left at the end of the film? Somebody is, so you can kind of piece the things together if you know. If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you in this review because I don't want to spoil anything. We'll talk about it, I don't know, in a few weeks when people get a chance to see the film. Now, the film itself was amazing. Now, I'm like such a Wolverine fan. I love them all. People say, "Oh, I hated the Silver Samurai." I didn't. I loved him. I hated him in the very first X-Men movie. I didn't. I loved him. I'm like fanboy of Wolverine. So it's not. It's a great portrayal of Wolverine, but it's a great film. I think out of the comic book genre, the greatest comic book genre films that I would say is number 1, Civil War. Number 2 is Logan. Logan has set a very high bar, I think, for the comic book movies coming through. And here's the thought that I had after sitting watching Logan, right? Because Fox doesn't always do a good job with stuff. Is I sat there and I thought, wait, do I look like Professor X? Subscribe to my channel now. Anyways, Logan really kind of, to me, took a big spotlight and shined it on Warner Brothers and just showed you how amateur the Warner Brother movies are. This really makes Batman v Superman suck. This really makes Suicide Squad suck. This really just dude, you guys really, really suck. And I was just, man, it's gonna be hard to follow this. I really do. I think Marvel can do it with some of their films. They have some great actors and some great storyline. But man, DC, dude, you guys are in trouble. I mean, this was Fox Studios, who can't seem to pull anything together, and they cranked out masterpiece. Boy, I think one of the things that you'll really enjoy is how gritty the film is. However, I don't know if I'd call it a masterpiece because it's going to limit its exposure to kids. Although when I went, there were like 6-year-olds watching this, and they were freaking out, like screaming when they would show scenes, and it was like, who in the hell's bringing their 6-year-old? I brought my son. He's 21. I would have made him wait to 21. No, I'm joking. Maybe 18. But it was a phenomenal film. I can tell you what, when when the film's going, all of a sudden I could sense the testosterone of the room just rise. Ooh. Every guy was like, "What? Why'd you bump my chair? Bob, hey, you dropped your popcorn on me. Huh? It was just so crazy. It was like, all the guys. Oh, and there's a, and I will tell you this. If you get into the showing early like we did, there was a press junket where they let the Logan Wolverine superfan interview Hugh Jackman. Dude. Sorry. You guys remember Chris Farley when he would do that movie? It was like, it was kind of like a, what do you call it on TV? Local broadcasting. And it was set up like that, like Two Ferns. And it was Chris Farley, and he would bring somebody famous on to interview, and he was like a fanboy, and he's really excited. And he's like, do you remember that time in the movie when you said this? And the actor, whoever it is, like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a good piece of dialogue. And he's like, that was cool. It's like, dude, that's what it had to feel like. And I'm not making fun of the guy. I mean, I'm happy for him. But there was a part of it was really hilarious. And I thought Hugh Jackman was so tender with this superfan, talking to him, being kind to him, like trying to tell him it's okay, you're doing good. Like, I walked away saying, Hugh Jackman I really like him as not just as Wolverine, but as a person. And that is a rarity today, isn't it? That is a rarity that you come across a celebrity and you say, I like him as a person. I mean, that's not a, come on, man. You guys know that a lot of them are just a-holes, right? They're just like, Peter Pan a-holes who never really had to work in it for a living, and now they're getting paid millions of dollars because of whatever. So it's probably shouldn't say that one. I thought I had studio problems now. So yeah, I would say this was a really good film. I think the storyline is good, that you could bring somebody in who doesn't know who Wolverine is, and they would watch the film. You could bring, because it's a Western style. It's good versus evil. It's a universal thing. And I think that not only could you bring somebody in who doesn't know the Wolverine story, they would probably be curious to want to go see the other Wolverine films and find out more about this guy and Charles Xavier and what's going on. It was a really good film. I mean, it was really, really good. When the film was over in the theater, there was silence. There was silence because it was silent for, I would say, probably 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And then it was almost like something out of Top Gun or something, where you heard one person, and then the whole place started clapping, and it got going a little bit more. But great film. It's a great film. It's one, will I own it? Oh yeah, I'll own it, and it's something that I'll watch multiple times. The great performance of Wolverine. Great performance of Wolverine. And let me do this. I'll come back and do a spoiler one, and probably at the end of the month, so you guys can find out if you haven't seen it. But you get a chance to go see it. It's worth it. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'll catch you guys later. Please subscribe to the channel if you will. That would be great. And we got an internet radio station that's starting to hum a little bit. Oh yeah, hum. And I'm working right now on Bollywood Nights. It's a Bollywood show that I'm going to be putting up on the website. But we have some Russian music on there. I got the... if you go to the website, you go to podcasts, you can hear specifically a couple Russian podcasts that we have with bands and whatnot. I think you'll enjoy them. And we got more coming. I'm going to be doing Leningrad. I'm going to be doing more Indian stuff. We're going to be doing more. And I just thank you so much for your patience. I'll catch you guys later. Peace and much love from the professor. Keep it real, yo. Wait, it didn't stop. Let's try it again. Keep it real, yo.